He must be looking at the clock.
Bad hearing.
Oh, I guess we are, folks, we're on the air, and I think Michael's looking at the clock in the back. That's a couple minutes early. So we will go ahead and get started. We'll welcome everyone this evening. So I'll call the meeting to order. Would you like to lead us in the, join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mary, roll call.
Olson.
Here.
Collins.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Kellum.
Here.
Kopsinski.
Here.
Coburn.
Here.
Okay, and first on our agenda is a proclamation, and I have kind of a little raspy voice this evening, and I think Councillor Johnson barely has a voice this evening, so I think we have a little virus kind of going around the dais. But so this is for Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month for April 6, 2016. Whereas this April marks the 33rd year of the U.S. Presidential Proclamation of Child Abuse Prevention Month. And whereas each April Child Abuse Prevention Month activities are held in communities across the nation to raise awareness about child abuse and the need for the entire community to become involved. And whereas during the National Child Abuse Prevention Month, we renew our commitment to preventing child abuse and rededicate ourselves to working together to ensure all children can have a bright and hopeful future. And whereas the goal is to rally our communities to understand what we can do to assist and encourage organ families. And whereas the dream of safe and stable families can only be realized by society and individuals coming together and taking responsibility. And whereas preventing child abuse and neglect is a community problem that depends on involvement among people throughout the community. And whereas child abuse and neglect not only directly harms children, but also increases the likelihood of criminal behavior, substance abuse, and health problems. And whereas effective prevention programs succeed through partnerships of community groups which help support parents to provide a safe and nurturing environment. And whereas the effects of child abuse need to be addressed by the entire community. Now therefore I, Sharon Canopa, Mayor of the City of Albany, Oregon, do hereby proclaim April 2016 as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month, and April 6th as the Day of Hope in Albany, and call upon all citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in efforts to recognize and prevent child abuse. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Albany to be affixed this 23rd day of March 2016. And I also wanted to commend the Albany Downtown Association. They have 10 downtown merchants who are participating in a diaper drive for families and for children that are involved with child abuse. And so the 10 businesses are collecting diapers. If anybody would like to participate in that program, you can get a hold of the Albany Downtown Association. All right. Okay. Next on is scheduled business, and this would be if there's anyone from business from the public. Would anyone like to come forward this evening if they have an item? Yes, Greg? And you know the routines?
Yes, I do.
State your name and your address.
Greg Hansen. It used to be 3615 Circle Drive when I left in 1970, but currently reside over between Logston and Siletz in Lincoln County, but have a business based at 2532 Santiam Highway Southeast, Box 146, Albany, Oregon 97322.
Thank you.
What I'm presenting, Madam Mayor, is something that I've shared individually with the council and with the city manager, and I was invited to come and share, so I've edited, condensed down to really 2 pages, and I just want to highlight a couple things. This, by the way, I'm speaking on behalf of myself, only myself, and my firm, GQG Consulting. I'm not representing anyone else, although a number of the ideas are things that I've collected over the last 64 years of life, especially the last year. So I want to read just a couple of things and then respond to any questions. Our community, state, country, and world are at a crossroads, critical crossroads. We must refocus on, quote, we the people, what we want locally to globally. Do the people determine the fate of neighborhood to international issues, or rather do elected and appointed officials form opinions, make policy and financial decisions, and exercise control based upon political beliefs coupled with input from their select constituencies, especially special interest groups, lobbyists, and super PACs? What if, quote, we the people, end quote, reset government? While it could take many different paths, forms, methods, and processes, one might be bringing with today's state-of-the-art digital tools to make better quality and thoughtful decisions based upon facts, evidence, and data. Let's take one local issue. Quote, what is the highest and best use of the 59 acres of public land occupied by the Albany Municipal Airport since 1920 and dedicated in 1931, owned by the City of Albany east of Interstate 5 and north of US Highway 20, end quote. What if we created and piloted an open and transparent, and by the way, one of the things I'm really impressed with the council, the mayor, but especially the city manager and the management team, is the openness and transparency about how you conduct business. That has, I've worked with a lot of city councils, school boards, county commissions, and others for 43 years. You are at the epitome of what I've experienced, and I applaud you.
Thank you.
So, I'm going to repeat this. What if we created and piloted an open, transparent, data-based democracy, DBD? I'm in the process of registering, patenting, so this is all being very transparent. It would give every citizen, or at least registered voter of 18 years of age in Albany, an opportunity to express their advisory opinions using qualitative and quantitative research methods and tools on this specific municipal airport issue. Now for the close. Would the Albany City Council be open to serving as the first community in the United States and worldwide to use data-based democracy, DBD? If successful, plus it could be modified for different issues, circumstances, and government, virtually every significant local, county, state, national, and international policy issue could then employ a similar method to engage citizens and voters. It would empower we the people to regain control over democracy. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Questions? Okay. All right. Thank you, Greg. Okay. Is there anyone else from business from the public? Doris?
Doris Johnston, 2780 19th Avenue Northwest in Albany, 97321. And I just wanted to say to you, in regards to your proclamation today, I don't know how many of you have been asked to come to an event, but since April, is a very important month for a lot of the folks in our community, I would encourage you to attend the ABC House Celebration of Hope. It's on April the 7th. I didn't see any of their board members here, so I have a table, and I'm a sponsor, so I just thought it would be nice to have that invitation out to all of you to attend.
Great. Thank you.
Actually, I do have it on my calendar, and I can't remember if I have responded yet for
Okay.
RSVP, but it's on my calendar, so I'll check on that. Other words, I might sit with you, Doris, so. Okay. Thank you.
What time is it, Mayor?
I've got down 5:30. Is that correct? Yeah, out at the fairgrounds.
What day?
On April 7th.
7th, okay.
Yeah, I think, oh, you know what? I did respond to Bobby that I was coming. That's right. So, but maybe check, I have no idea where I'm being seated, so. Okay. All right. Thank you, Doris. And thank you for coming, too, for proclamation. Okay, anyone else in business from the public? Okay, all right. Next, then, is the first reading of ordinance, and this one is on page 4. And would you like the first reading read?
This is an ordinance amending Chapter 12.1.10, Intent and Purpose, and amending Chapter 12.1.40, Definitions, and creating Chapter 12.30, Stormwater Utility of the Albany Municipal Code.
Okay. Council, did you want anything done with this? Or-
Read second time, title only.
Okay,
Either before the actual reading or after. I have maybe a couple of questions for Mark, but
Okay.
not
for-
related to the content of the ordinance itself, but more process.
Okay, for the second reading, we'd have discussion. Is there a second to have this read a second time?
I'll second it.
Okay, all right. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Oh, can't do
Okay,
it.
well, then we won't have discussion on it.
This
but
is-
Did you want to, we can still ask a question over process.
Yes, last time we met, Mark gave us a briefing on a couple of items that were happening that affect the potential stormwater permitting in Albany. And maybe if you can just give us an update on what's happening with the remand from the Ninth Circuit to the EPA, and then if you could redefine for us the process that DEQ uses for the permit development process that we might see at some point in the future.
Okay, Mayor, members of the council, Mark Yeager, Utility Services Manager, City of Albany employee. So Floyd, I'll answer your second question first about the process, the DEQ process, and then talk next about the EPA rule remand. The Department of Environmental Quality, as I've mentioned previously, is in the process of developing a new general permit for Phase 2 communities, of which Albany will become one of those new communities. I serve on this advisory committee that has been meeting for the last couple of years on this process. The department says that their latest schedule is that on May 2nd, they're going to release their latest draft of the permit that is supposed to be reflecting changes that they are incorporating based on the feedback that the advisory committee has given them over the several processes that we've had. And then on May 10th, the committee is supposed to have a meeting to discuss the latest draft of the permit. So follow-up questions on that?
Is that May 10th, is that internal DEQ staff and committee, or is that a public meeting that people can attend?
Mayor, members of the council, it's a public meeting. I don't know yet what the time of day, so DEQ has said that they intend to have the permit issued by May 2nd. That hasn't happened yet, so they're not necessarily always on time with their schedule, but the May 10th meeting would be a public meeting, and it's open to the public. Generally, we've had those meetings usually have lasted from 10 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon and have been either in Portland or in Eugene. So I don't have any details yet about the meeting, but that is a public meeting. And then on the remand rule, so the US EPA is in the process of they're in a rulemaking process for changing the Phase 2 rules. The initial rules were developed, published, and adopted in 1999. Several communities in Oregon have had the Phase 2 permits since about 2006 and 2007. The EPA got sued by an environmental group alleging that the process that they were using for issuing the permits did not provide adequate opportunity for public input into the stormwater programs. Also that they did not have adequate public notice as part of the stormwater programs, and then finally that the permitting authorities were not doing an adequate enough review of the best management practices that the communities were intending to apply in their communities. So the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals required EPA to essentially do a rulemaking to fix these problems. Those rules were published in January sometime. I don't remember exactly the date that they were published. The comment period on the proposed rulemaking closed on Monday, March 21st, and the EPA is supposed to issue the new rules by November of 2016. One of the interesting factors about the remand rule, as it's called, is that the proposed the rulemaking response to the court ruling is broader than those three items I mentioned, the adequate public notice, the opportunity for public input into the process, and the permitting authority review of BMPs or best management practices. Their proposed rulemaking is much broader than that. So many stormwater management agencies and interest groups are commenting on the rule. Not exactly sure what the outcome is going to be in terms of what's going to happen in terms of what the new rules will say with regard to requirements for the Phase 2 communities.
So given the two key dates, the May 10th and then the potential subsequent adoption of the DEQ rules, followed by sometime in November having new federal rules, we can be going through an entire process of looking at a draft permit under existing rules, only to have the rules changed in the fall.
That's a possibility. So what's happening with the with the DEQ permit process? So a DEQ is not, they're not doing a rulemaking, they're simply developing a permit under existing rules. So their schedule, as they've articulated it to us, is May 2nd for a new draft permit, May 10th for an informal comment by the advisory committee. The department has stated that they're going to review and consider any comment on May 10th, and then issue the draft permit for formal public comment in the July timeframe. And they have said that their schedule is that they would then issue the new general permit by September, October. So it could be that that permit is going to meet or not meet what EPA comes out with in terms of their final rulemaking on the remand rule. It's up in the air at the moment.
Yeah, I think all of that just says it's up in the air and we're uncertain. You know, we're doing everything we know what to do by participating in the process to make sure it's some reasonable language, but who knows what DEQ finally adopts and who knows what EPA finally adopts. So we may be going around this bush again.
Well, that's probably a guarantee because the rules will change down the road.
So do you think we really do need a stormwater ordinance, or do you think we might not have to have a stormwater ordinance?
I think there's two separate issues. One is the ordinance, in my opinion, sets the framework, and then the permit actually is the implementation and mechanism of what the rules are that are adopted either by DEQ or
So it's just a
EPA.
matter of rules and details.
Yeah, I think it's always wise to be very aware of what the rules are, and as we talked before, having dealt with regulatory agencies, they often try to get more than what they have statutory authority to get, and so I think we have to be very prudent on what we do.
Seeing as how we're going to read it again at our next meeting, I think it's wise for somebody to tell the general public, and there aren't very many public here tonight, but I know quite a few people are watching on TV these days. So I'm wondering if we could have just a brief summary of what we're talking about here.
I can do that if you'd like, Mayor. So the stormwater ordinance that's before you essentially does three primary things. It creates an entity called a stormwater utility, which is very similar to what we already have for our water utility, our drinking water utility, and our wastewater or sewer utility. So it creates a structure that allows you to do a couple of things. One is we have a number of physical assets that are part of the stormwater system. The creation of the stormwater utility will allow you to segregate those assets. They're currently living under the sewer utility, so it will segregate those assets and you'll have a place to manage those assets. It creates a stormwater fund. As you know, you're currently spending both wastewater or sewer money and street money to manage the stormwater system, and now those monies are segregated off in the street fund and the sewer fund. By creating the stormwater fund, you'll be more transparent in exactly what's happening with the stormwater money. And then the final thing that the ordinance does, it gives you the authority to adopt or impose a service charge sometime in the future with regard to paying for stormwater services. Adoption of of this ordinance and creation of the utility does not result in the implementation of any fees. It just simply gives you the authority to do that in the future, should you choose to do that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions of Mark? No. Okay, all right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. So our next meeting, then, we'll have the second reading of the ordinance. So, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is the adoption of the consent calendar, and if there isn't any items to be pulled off this evening, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to pull off item 1A.
Which one, Bill?
1A.
Okay. All right. Would you like to make a motion for the rest?
Sure, I'll make a motion for adoption of the consent calendar, items 1B and item 2.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, all right, Bill, item 1A.
So I'm speaking on behalf of Counselor Johnson, who is unable to speak.
Her proxy this evening.
I have her proxy, yes.
Mouthpiece.
Funny.
So on page 17, and we're looking at the third paragraph from the bottom, and it's the last sentence. She thinks we need to consider more public service staff in the next budget year. What she said was she thinks we need to consider more public safety staff. So if we can change service to safety,
Okay,
and with that, I'll make a motion to adopt consent calendar item 1A as corrected.
Second.
okay. All right, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. All right, thank you, Bill. Good job. Bessie.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next is business from the council, and Bessie, did you have anything? Okay. All right.
Even
If you do, just speak up.
Yeah.
Did I tell you
Bill,
something?
did you have anything?
No.
Nope. Dick?
Again, going back to page 17, the last paragraph, Amanda Juergens was not, she was here, but she came late, and she was not here in time to receive her recognition for a life-saving award. And has she been invited to come back? We talked about inviting her to come back. It's on your schedule? It's on your agenda to do that? Thank you.
All right, is that it, Dick? Okay, all right. Rich, did you have anything?
No, not tonight.
Okay, Ray?
No, I'd just like to remind the public that possibly is watching that there's probably, most of folks have started seeing renewal of our safety levy signs up floating around town in different locations, and since I'm allowed to do so, I'm very strongly advocating that when the election comes up in May, that we approve the renewal of the levy.
All right, thank you. Yes. Okay, Floyd?
No, thanks.
Okay, and I didn't have anything this evening. Wes?
Just one brief issue. Greg Hansen was here this evening. I think, as the council is aware, for mutual convenience, the contract between Greg and the county to promote the Expo Center has been terminated. It's up in the air as to what the next step will be in terms of promoting the Expo. I think, as the council recalls, you budgeted $90,000 for that purpose. We've spent, I want to say, in the $30,000 range, probably, although I don't have an exact number tonight. But at this point, I don't have, I did speak with the county administrator about it, and he said right now that's an issue that the county commissioners will need to consider. So I don't have an update on exactly what they're going to be doing.
All right. Okay. Anything else? All right, and any staff have anything? So,
I can
Marilyn?
report, as a result of the meeting on Monday when we talked about the Crocker Lane and Gibson Hill intersection, We got all that information posted on our website early this morning. We issued a news release, we've posted it all on social media, and as of 7:15, we had had 62 responses to which of the 5 options do you like. And people are providing, some people are just voting without comment, other people are providing very thoughtful comments. And so that's going to remain up until we have the community meeting. We expect to have that scheduled as soon as, early next week when Jeff and Stacy are back from vacation.
Dare tell us which option is ahead?
Sure. Hold on, my math is not good here. 28 votes for the modern roundabout. 9 each for the three-way stop or the signal with single lanes. 11 for the signal plus turn lanes, and 7 for the mini roundabout.
Interesting that people are voting for a roundabout.
Roundabout, whoa.
Question?
Yeah.
Were the prices of the various things posted? I know in
They
something
are.
I... Yeah, they are. They are on the, online. They weren't
Yes.
on what I received in an email.
And the news release? You got the news release?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, we didn't put the prices in the news release, but they are prominently displayed on the webpage.
Good.
Yes.
Ray?
Can you tell from the postings, are these folks that live up in that area, or are they from all around the area?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. That's one of the weaknesses of an online poll.
Oh,
The
that's
comments
interesting.
we're getting are people who are saying, I drive through there every day, or I live in that area, and so they're people who are knowledgeable, who are taking the time to comment.
So they're used to the roundabout that's, just, at the North Albany one, so they're used to that, so they don't mind having another
That
one,
comment's
but
been made a
yeah.
couple of times, yes.
Yeah, oh, good, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, anything else? Okay, with that, then, we're going to recess to executive session to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations in accordance with ORS 192.6602D. Okay, all right, thank you, folks.